that is just for you. Bear Mattress is a...
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you start out your reaction video or your video with a commercial, with an advertisement, ladies and gentlemen, you got a dead channel. Chael Sonnen, you got a dead channel, Chael, whatever your stupid name is. Take two.
Alright guys, listen up. If you want to sleep like a gangster, go visit my friends at bearmattress.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, what does Chael Sonnen know about sleeping like a gangster, ladies and gentlemen? You gotta leave that stuff up to like Vinny the Guinea. Or Giuliani Argentini, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? I don't know what Chael Sonnen knows about sleeping like a gangster, ladies and gentlemen. I've known Mr. Sonnen for years, ladies and gentlemen, and Randy Couture. Today, we're going to go over Chael Sonnen, okay? Giving kudos to Randy Couture, ladies and gentlemen, and also talking about Bruce Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it.
/Chael. Use my code Chael. That's going to get you 40% off. That's now...
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen. Chael's got a code, ladies and gentlemen. The man's moving up. The man that's never done anything, ladies and gentlemen. He's got a code, ladies and gentlemen. Ha ha.
What they're offering the general public, guys, that is just for you. Bear Mattress is a premium fiberglass free mattress shipped right to your door. You don't need a pickup truck. You don't need 3 buddies. You just open the box, let it inflate, and boom. Listen up. If you want to sleep like a gangster, go visit my friends at Bear Mattress.
Or if you want to sleep like a gangster, ladies and gentlemen, visit my friend Vinny the Guinea or my friend Giuliani Argentini, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what Chael Sonnen knows about gangsters, ladies and gentlemen. I've known Chael for years, ladies and gentlemen. And Randy Couture. Today, we're going to take a look at, ladies and gentlemen, the clown here, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be going and doing a fight reaction. Oh, it's so surprising that Chael has, a code. Here he is slinging mattresses, ladies and gentlemen. Chael, he knows all about shopping for mattresses, ladies and gentlemen. Because when he used to get knocked out in the gym, ladies and gentlemen, back in the day, we used to call him Bedtime Chael, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. So this is perfect for Chael Sonnen, ladies and gentlemen. He knows a lot, ladies and gentlemen, about mattresses. He would go shopping for mattresses every time we sparred, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you that right now. He had a code, all right. Yeah, and that was called Daily, ladies and gentlemen.
40% off. That's not what they're offering the general public, guys. That is just for you. Bear Mattress is a premium fiberglass free mattress shipped right to your door. You don't need a pickup truck. You don't need 3 buddies.
That's right. What you need is Vinny, the telekinesis guy. But Vinny goes like that. That's right. Vinny, the telekinesis guy, delivers the mattress to your house, ladies and gentlemen. He just moves it through the air, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you that right now. It's very inexpensive. Very inexpensive shipping, ladies and gentlemen.
Just open the box, let it inflate, and boom. You've now upgraded your life. And here's the best part. Bear.
I mean, some of you guys know about those things that automatically inflate, those dolls, ladies and gentlemen, that some of you guys get. It's just like that, except for it's a mattress, ladies and gentlemen.
Has now got a sleep quiz that'll match you with the perfect mattress. Me, I run a little hot. I like support, and Bear...
Chael Sonnen said as he's running a little bit hot, ladies and gentlemen. Does he think he's good looking or something, ladies and gentlemen? He looks like a grandfather to me, ladies and gentlemen.
Nailed it. It matched me with the Star Hybrid based on how I sleep. I've been sleeping on this thing for 2 months, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you it is the best I have felt getting out of bed in years. I stay cool. I'm not tossing around like a frog in a sock. And the whole thing is clean, safe, and fiber. that people sleep better, recover.
Did he just say Bear's survey, ladies and gentlemen? So Bear is putting a survey out. I mean, who are they surveying? Their employees? They won't get a paycheck if they don't, endorse the mattress, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, and what is this? Chael Sonnen. I mean, what is this, ladies and gentlemen? You're starting out your video, not even giving content first. You're starting your video out with an advertisement. Did the advertisement people come to you and say, hey, we need you to put this at the beginning because nobody sticks around and watches your videos all the way through, ladies and gentlemen? That's why Chael Sonnen, ladies and gentlemen, Chael Sonnen's got a dead channel. Chael Sonnen, you got a dead channel. Dead channel, Chael Sonnen.
Faster and feel better. And I believe it. You get free shipping, a 120-night sleep trial, a limited lifetime warranty, and financing options.
What if you're like Giuliani Argentini and you only go to sleep every 3 days, ladies and gentlemen? Can get a 300-day money back, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, he doesn't go to sleep every night, goddammit, ladies and gentlemen.
I love my Bear mattress. And you will too. Upgrade your sleep right now at bearmattress.com/Chael. Remember, code Chael gets you 40% off. Guys, do it today, because remember, champions don't procrastinate. The ideas of Randy Couture are more applied in MMA than the philosophies of Bruce Lee.
Now, me, the clown. Now, remember, I know both Randy Couture and this guy here, Chael Sonnen, personally, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when you make the title of the video, when you make the title with Randy Couture, he talks more about himself and Bruce Lee than he does Randy Couture. All right? And we'll tell you a little bit about when Chael Sonnen used to hang around, and that's what I'm saying. Chael Sonnen used to hang around the gym back in the day, okay? All right, well, Chael Sonnen used to be the guy that would go and get our coffee, okay? And it is who you know in this business, right? The only reason Chael Sonnen made it to the UFC, ladies and gentlemen, is because of the gym. Now listen, right here, this is where I have a problem with this whole thing right here, okay? He talks about Bruce Lee probably in his sleep when he's on a bare mattress, ladies and gentlemen. He's the one talking about Bruce Lee. Who's talking about Bruce Lee? When I hang around the UFC all the time, and nobody's talking about Bruce Lee. He says that people are always talking about Bruce Lee. Who's talking about Bruce Lee? We all know Randy Couture and his stamp on the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. Every fight that you watch, trust me, the clown right here, and I'm telling you because I know, ladies and gentlemen, every fight that you watch, you're watching a part of Randy Couture, and I'll explain that later, ladies and gentlemen.
I just watched an interview, and...
Whoa, Chael just watched an interview, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
It was on YouTube, and not very many people watched it. It was a new channel. Looked like Randy did a favor.
Oh, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe that's what you think it is, Chael Sonnen, that Randy's doing a favor. Maybe he's just the way he is, okay? And he doesn't play the old high and mighty like you, Chael Sonnen. To you, he's doing somebody a favor, but to him, maybe he's doing his diligence, or whatever it's called. I don't know, I'm a stupid clown, okay? Maybe he's giving back. What do you give back, Chael? Oh, the only thing you give back is 3 stupid videos every goddamn day, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't have a dead channel, you wouldn't have to put so many videos out, Chael.
Whole amount of views.
And chill, when you open your mouth, okay, on stuff that can be looked up, why don't you look it up before you talk about it? Just like the Bruce Lee thing here. And stop. Please, Chael, stop. Stop grifting one way or another in your videos. I don't know if it's actual grifting, but what it is, you put a narrative one way, and then later on, it's another way. I mean, stick to the road there, Chael Sonnen.
Couple hundred. I watched the whole thing, and Randy essentially gave a recap of his career. I mean, it takes us way back to when he's coaching at Oregon State.
At least Randy had a career, unlike you, Chael Sonnen. I mean, I take a look at your Wikipedia page there, Chael Sonnen. I'm looking around where it says champion. I don't see anything in Chael Sonnen that says champion. Chael Sonnen used to be the guy that would say, hey, go get us coffee in the gym. And Chael Sonnen got us coffee, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. In his Wikipedia page, and I'm saying Wika, like weak, Wikipedia page, ladies and gentlemen, Chael Sonnen, no champion. Randy Couture, champion.
To the match with Vitor Belfort, which fast forward to leaving Oregon State, his coaching job, capturing a world title over Marine.
And then, unfortunately, Randy Couture's probably thinking, unfortunately, I met you, Chael Sonnen. And that's basically everybody at the gym was like that. Hey, who's this Chael guy? I don't like this Chael guy. And all kinds of things like that. He was like the tag-along guy.
It just reminded me of the ideas and philosophies of Randy Couture, which really got exposed and celebrated in the days of Team Quest. But Team Quest fell apart. And those guys end up suing each other and don't even talk to one of the owners and head coach.
Okay, right there, ladies and gentlemen. This is the clown talking to you here, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody in the gym wanted to get rid of Chael Sonnen, okay? Except for one owner. That's what happened to it was a fight over kicking Chael Sonnen out, and one guy stuck with Chael Sonnen. I don't know why, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, nobody liked the guy.
Deceased. And when that happened, and there was the breakup, and those ideas weren't on display, not only through himself and his competitive career, but through his athletes, people like me.
Chael Sonnen, I wouldn't consider you an athlete, okay? You're just a tag-along guy, a sparring partner, and you were just in the right place at the right time. I mean, who did you? They put you up against great people, great fighters. You had many chances to beat somebody good. I mean, what about Machidi, ladies and gentlemen? What about Fedor? What about Jones? You couldn't beat any of those, Chael Sonnen. What about Silva? What about Ortiz? Huh? What about Rashad Evans? I mean, how many chances did they give you to beat somebody that's worthy? You couldn't beat anybody.
And it pays a homage when I go out there and I win with Randy's system. It pays a homage.
Gentlemen, right here, this is the clown again, ladies and gentlemen. Right there, Randy system. Now this guy right here, Chael Sonnen, used to go around saying things about he doesn't like game plan. And if a system is not part of a game plan, then I don't know what is.
And it just seems to me that when Team Quest...
Yaul, right? Okay, he's talking about he would only fight okay? He called it a system. Later on, the video after this or before this, I don't know. Chael Sonnen says he hates when it's called a game plan, but a system. Now, Yael, right? He had a system, which was a game plan to tire the guy out and only come alive the last 5 minutes of the fight, ladies and gentlemen. And then, but on this video, he's talking against that, except for it's a system. And a system, if it's not part of a game plan, I don't know what it is. Okay? Let's just take a look at this.
Disperse that light that should be shining on Randy. It does shine on Bruce, doesn't shine on Randy. I don't know why that is. Bruce Lee.
It's the people that you talk to, Chael Sonnen. Nobody talks to me about stupid Bruce Lee. Okay? And at times, yeah, Randy Couture comes up. Because you know why? Randy Couture is the man, ladies and gentlemen. But nobody's talking about Bruce Lee except you. When you have conversations with people, you bring up Bruce Lee. I guarantee it.
He had a philosophy. Bruce Lee could not fight. But
okay, let's here's where we go. Bruce Lee cannot fight, right? So Bruce Lee over in Hong Kong, I believe it was, Chael Sonnen needs to look some of this stuff up before, he sticks his foot in his mouth, ladies and gentlemen, which he does all the time. Bruce Lee's parents sent Bruce Lee over to America to get him out of a gang because they had too many street fights, okay? And it's documented with the police, okay? It's highly documented that Bruce Lee was fighting all the time. But listen, later on, Chael Sonnen's going to tell you that those weren't fights, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll remind you later.
Fighting wasn't a thing. Like the idea of fighting on your feet and on the ground, a fight.
Okay. I don't know. Like, street fights do go to the ground. Come on. Chael, come on, man. But in the UFC, you're basically forced to go to the ground nowadays. But anyways, go ahead.
It was not even discussed. That wasn't a competition anywhere. If you're going to grapple, you're going to grapple.
Okay, so is it a competition or a fight? So now we're talking competition. And then before he was talking about, Bruce Lee can't fight. And then now, fighting, standing up and going to the ground is now considered a fight. He slipped it in there. He'll talk about it some more.
You're a stand-up guy, you're a stand-up guy. They've got wrestling and they've got boxing. They both got a spot in the Olympic Games. But the idea of a false fight, by what we know of, it didn't even exist when Bruce was around. So when I say that Bruce didn't know how to fight, like you Bruce Lee nut huggers, and there are a few of you, you're not being insulted. This is a reality. Bruce did not know how to fight. Fighting wasn't the thing.
Bruce Lee didn't know how to fight, yet Bruce Lee got in trouble with the police having street fights. And how many times, like if you watch YouTube street fights, right, like legit ones, like two guys coming out of a bar, or just, I don't know, just two people, right? Sometimes it goes to the ground, right, people? He's saying that it never went to the ground before. And he's talking about street fights or fights for Bruce Lee. Let's not confuse this. Then he's talking about competition not going to the ground. I don't know what wrestling is. Don't know what sumo wrestling is either.
But the idea of fighting most certainly was. The philosophy. And the philosophies were very clear when I started in the 90s. And if you...
Man, he started in the 90s. What is he like? Is this like Grandpa MMA, YouTube channel, or is it MMA Grandpa YouTube channel? Started in the 90s. Even though Chael's got hair, he's still bald. Remember, Dana White only hires bald people, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's say I was a judo guy. and I want to go train at a karate gym. I can't unless I show up with a note.
Now, let me explain that, ladies and gentlemen. It's just like you see in the BKFC. And today on Caged Minds, I seen this same thing talked about from a fighter, a boxer, okay? BKFC doesn't really want people cross-trained, right? Because you got people shooting people. It's like, it's muscle memory, okay? That's sort of, because they had competitions back then. If the UFC isn't a competition, I don't know what is, right? But cross-training in karate, you might take up some other traits that, aren't part of karate, and they might come available when you're doing a competition. It's like BKFC. You keep getting all these people from the mixed martial arts, and then they're doing takedowns in boxing. Maybe that's it, Chael. But Chael has a hard time with this.
From my coach. If my coach wrote a note, hey, Chael is coming to your gym tonight, please welcome him and know this has my blessing. If I don't do that, I'm a traitor. I'm wrong. I shouldn't even be in that gym. And secondly, if that coach knows that I'm doing that, he is not supposed to let me into the gym. Now, this is a respect thing. It's not against the rule, against the law. You don't end up in handcuffs, but you would be ostracized from a community. And if you're part of the martial arts community, just like any other community, suspended, you're part of the school. Okay. And that was in the 90s, guys. In the 90s, we could not cross-train. In the 90s.
In the 90s. Man, that sounds so long ago.
Career, but through his athletes, people like me. And it pays a homage when I go out there and I win with Randy's. It was not even discussed. That wasn't a competition anywhere. If you're going to grab, you're not being insulted. This is a reality. And I want to go train at a karate gym. I can't. Blessing. If I don't do that, I'm a traitor. I'm wrong. I shouldn't even be in that gym. And secondly, if that coach knows that I'm doing that, he is not supposed to let me into the gym. Now, this is a respect thing. It's not against the rule, against the law. You don't end up in handcuffs, but you would be ostracized from a community. And if you're part of the martial arts community, just like any other community, right? No different than your high school. You don't want to be suspended. You're part of the school. Okay. And that was in the 90s, guys. In the 90s, we could not cross-train. In the 90s, we could not go do taekwondo over here and check out boxing over here and get into a jiu-jitsu gym over here. Couldn't do it without permission. So it was very hard. It was very amazing when we had a guy like Marco Huas come along that knew stand-up fighting and had a jiu-jitsu black belt. It was a very incredible thing when you get this guy, Don Fry. Don Fry was ahead of his time. He was a college wrestler who knew how to box.
There you go, right there. So he's already named two people ahead of Randy Couture.
This was unheard of. How would you learn both? You're not allowed. Right? It's just an incredible thing. And this is in the 90s. What Bruce said before he died. When did Bruce die? Like in the late 60s, or was he in the 70s? I thought didn't he die in like 69?
Well, one thing is when you're going to do, like a video on somebody, you should know maybe some of this information. And then when you bring it up, I mean, shouldn't you know it? I mean, just breeze by it. Don't even say it.
I could have that wrong and it was in the 70s, but my point is, decades prior, Bruce had a philosophy, it never got put to practice, that you could train in multiple arts. As a matter of fact, you should train. As a matter of fact, not only should you train in them, you should find out what works for you, and if you need to combine them, do it.
Okay, so right there, then he's saying that Bruce Lee had that philosophy. Okay? And then he's going to say Randy Couture was the first one to ever do it.
That was unheard of. To think that a Taekwondo guy would use a karate guy's techniques. Or that a karate guy would use a boxer's techniques. I mean, this was unheard of. So it was a philosophy, right? Philosophy. And Bruce's philosophy clearly turned out to be right. Take what you can from whatever art you can, and then when you're competing,
Except in the UFC, Dana White rewards takedowns, right? You're getting your ass beat, up on the feet, right? You go ahead and you shoot, right? Hey, the judges are rewarding you for getting your ass beat. Now you're taking a shoot. I mean, come on, man. Stop, Dana White, stop rewarding takedowns. Why is it forced? Why are takedowns forced? And then now Chael Sonnen's going to say that's what real fighting is. It's on the feet and it's on the ground. But why is on the ground forced?
in live situation, do what works best for you. When you're in a live situation, don't try to pay homage to an art form. Win. Great, that makes perfect sense, right? Well,
yeah, except for when a guy's getting his ass beat, he shoots, okay? And he gets rewarded for that. That's what's wrong with the UFC. And Chael Sonnen's sitting here saying that stand-up people only can't fight. You gotta have ground. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Eventually, yeah, street fights do go to the ground. We're talking about fights. A competition is different. Stop using the word fight.
well, I'm just sharing with you, even in my own lifetime, it didn't. It didn't. It was resisted. So as simple as that sounds, great. Well, let's talk about some Randy philosophies. Randy did not believe in a belt system. When we started Team Quest, it was called Performance Quest.
Except for when the clown here went to Randy Couture's house. He has some belts laying around, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't believe in belts or a belt system. He's got all the belts there. He doesn't believe in them.
It wasn't called Team Quest. It was called Performance Quest. Because Randy's belief was, it's not about a blue belt, a brown belt, a black belt. It's about the performance. When the match comes, when the fight happens, can you beat him? Are you gritty enough, tough enough, smart enough? Do you know enough? Can you apply enough? Can you compete well enough? Are you conditioned enough? Like whatever it takes, whatever boxes you have to check, can you outperform your opponent? That was Randy's belief. And Randy went on to have a 12-pound gold belt.
And Chael Sonnen didn't. Ladies and gentlemen.
Didn't have a black belt in anything, or a brown belt, or a purple belt for that matter. He had no belt, no rank, but he could compete and perform better than guys who did. Simple philosophy, but it was his philosophy, and it was incredible. And Randy is the one, single-handedly, not there was a couple of people, there was one that showed that a world-class athlete could come into mixed martial arts. This is what Dana White is currently arguing is going to happen with Slap, which is a fact.
Now, didn't he just say Don Fry? Isn't that mixed martial arts? Don Fry? And he named somebody else?
Fascinating concept where Dana's going, yeah, we're doing this Slap thing and we're building it and it's forming, but what are you going to say when I sign a guy that was in the NFL? What are you going to do when I sign a guy that was the main events of UFCs? What are you going to do when I sign my first Olympian? These ideas that this isn't a sport or athletic is going to be gone. So, yeah, that's true, and that's Randy was the first to do that in MMA. He was the first to say strategy matters.
Strategy matters. Isn't that a game plan? Strategy, game plan. Don't they run hand in hand a little bit, Chael Sonnen?
game plans, and I hate the term game plan. I can't even tell you how much I hate that term.
Yet in another video, you praise Yaul, okay? You praise him for waiting for the last 5 minutes to fight, to knock people out, to wear them down. That's called a game plan. You hate game plans, but you do a whole video praising this guy. What is it, Chael?
But that they matter. Rest matters. Recovery matters. The way you prepare. Strength and conditioning. Has an arm. Diet. Sleep. Randy was the first to show this is for actual athletes. And if you take it like an actual athlete would, you can go very far. And those philosophies have been truer and have played out through more athletes than the ideas of Bruce Lee. But Bruce gets the credit and Randy doesn't. And it's always bothered me.
It's the people that you talk to, Chael. Nobody's talking about Bruce Lee to me. And a lot of times it's Randy Couture.
I don't know why it's that way. But Randy was the original. He was on the precipice, on the cusp. And by the way, when the transitions came, from the dark days to pay-per-view, to mainstream, to Fox, Randy was there. He was having to adjust and elevate his game. And he did, because he had the right mindset and the right philosophies. But they don't get credited enough.
You talk about credit, right? When you watch a UFC fight, you're watching Randy Couture. Dana White comes to the gym of Randy Couture is, training in. And he says, hey, let me take a look at those gloves. Randy Couture cut all the fingers off of the gloves. All right, so you could say, Rocky back in 1976 or whatever. Rocky had, the gloves cut off and everything, right? But it was because of Randy Couture cutting the fingers off of the gloves. Dana White showing up to the gym. Hey, let me take a look at those gloves. And taking the gloves from Randy Couture. Randy never seen those gloves again. And guess what happened in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen? That's your story. Randy Couture invented, or because of Randy Couture, you have the gloves that you have in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. True story. And then Dana White doesn't invite Randy Couture. He doesn't invite Randy Couture to any of the UFC fights, ladies and gentlemen. You don't see Randy Couture sitting in the front row, ladies and gentlemen. Every time you watch a fight, you are clearly watching Randy Couture. Something that Chael Sonnen right here doesn't let you know. Chael Sonnen saying that he hung out and trained in the same gym with Randy Couture. We didn't associate with Chael Sonnen very much, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? He doesn't know everything that he's portraying to know about Randy Couture, ladies and gentlemen. And listen here, Chael Sonnen. Listen here. You remember that roast that you did of Randy Couture? And you're talking down to women and such like that, okay? This is a reaction video to your video. That's all it is. If it's a roast, it's a roast. You can take it, Chael Sonnen.
And we need to change that. It's important that the story is told the way the story happened.